Well, I think that the media is reporting from many different ways, not necessarily from science. We see our public officials that are calling attention to all of the bad things that are happening. And they're doing this because we're down here, they feel like we're not getting appropriate help. And so to get the resources mobilized to fight the oil spill, they say how the absolute worst case scenario. We have other groups who firmly believe from a philosophical point of view that any chemical is going to cause immense damage. We have other groups, on the other hand, who are saying, oh, well, we spilled a little bit of oil, it'll go away, there's no problem. And really what we have to do is go back and look at the science and try to track it through. I've tried very hard to put forth what I know about the chemical and physical properties of oil, how they act, and what's going to happen to them. And I've had both sides tell me, why are you making things so rosy when I'm saying what's happening to the oil? And others are saying, why are you making it so bleak? So I think if we go back and we just follow the science, the news media is interested in a story, not necessarily science, because science may be boring. And they're often looking at the human interest stories. I think we also, too, have to separate out what is the physical and chemical behavior of this oil from the very real economic impact this has had on our people, on our state. And people make the correlation, if it's causing that bad of an economic impact, if people are that upset, then surely it must be toxic. They also look at the total, hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil, or hundreds of thousands of gallons of oil, rather, that have been released. And they say if there's that much oil, surely it must cause a problem. Almost 2 million gallons of the dispersants, and they say surely that must be causing a problem. And they have points, but it's the perception, and people don't really think it through. I believe that from all of the data that I have gathered, that indeed the oil spill will have a impact on the Gulf. There's too much oil here that has gotten into the estuaries. However, the Gulf is very resilient. As much oil that has been released, the Gulf is a very big place. One of the calculations that I did was looking at the amount of dispersants. Do you know how many gallons are in a cubic mile of water? A lot. So if we say that the oil spill is a mile below the surface, and we take a half-mile radius around that oil spill, so that's a mile diameter, that's a cubic mile. There's something like 10 to the 15 gallons of oil. 10 to the 15 gallons of water in that cubic mile. Well, if we added all 2 million gallons of the dispersant at one time, the dilution factor would be pretty low. It would be down to about 10 to the 9, which is in part per trillion range. And we know that the dispersant wasn't added all at one time. It was added over 2.5 months. And it wasn't just in one place. And there was dilution going along. So the fact that we can't find dispersant, we can't measure it, well, that makes sense. It's been diluted out tremendously. But I don't think people understand those dilution factors. We know that there's breakdown of both the oil and of the dispersants. Dispersants' half-life is in about 2 weeks. So it's going to be breaking down. The oil is going to be breaking down.